Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Krishna Balala Lalita Vichaka Jaya Radhe Jaya Gaura Nitai Krishna Balala Lalita Vichaka Jaya Radhe Grantraj Shrimad-Bhagavad-Gita ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta-vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande. I see some devotees are staying here for second class in a row. This is a sign of real Brahmana. You know, there's a sign of Gandharva. He can dance and sing for how long? 72 hours, non-stop. But that's nothing. Srimad-Bhagavatam was spoken for 7 days and nights, non-stop. So great sages can tolerate even that for the pleasure of hearing the Krishna Katha. So today we have 45 minutes left to discuss most vast and biggest subject, size-wise in Bhagavad Gita. It's a universal form, 11th chapter. Verse 3, we can try to repeat together. Evam etat yathathatvam Evam etat yathathatvam Atmanam parameshvara Atmanam parameshvara Drishtamicchami te rupam Drishtamicchami te rupam Aishwaram purushottama Aishwaram purushottama Evam etat yathathatvam Atmanam parameshvara Drashtamicchami te rupam Aishwaram purushottama
Evam etat yathathatvam Atmanam parameshvara Drashtamicchami te rupam Aishwaram purushottama Evam etat yathathatvam Atmanam parameshvara Drashtamicchami te rupam Aishwaram purushottama Evam etat yathathatvam Atmanam parameshvara Drashtamicchami te rupam Aishwaram purushottama Evam etat yathathatvam Atmanam parameshvara Drashtamicchami te rupam Aishwaram purushottama
Evam etat yathatvam
Evam etat yathatvam
Atmanam parameshvara Drashtamicchami te rupam Aishwaram purushottama
Aishwaram purushottama एवमेतद्धातुकम् आत्मानं परमेश्वरः द्रष्टुमिच्छामि ते रूपम् ऐश्वरं पुरुषोत्तमम्
Evam, thus, etat, this, yatha, as it is, atha, have spoken, tvam, you, atmanam, yourself, Parama Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Drashtum, to see, Ichhami, I wish, Te, your, Rupam, form, Aishvaram, divine, Purushottama, O best of personalities. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position as you have described yourself, I wish to see you how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Prabhupada comments. The Lord said that because he entered into the material universe by his personal representation, the cosmic manifestation has been made possible and is going on. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he is inspired by the statements of Krishna, but in order to convince others in the future who may think that Krishna is an ordinary person, Arjuna desires to see him actually in his universal form, to see how he is acting from this within universe, although he is a part of it, from it. Arjuna's addressing the Lord as Parameshwara is also significant, since the Lord is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is present within Arjuna himself. Therefore, he knows the desire of Arjuna, and he can understand that Arjuna has no specific desire to see him in his universal form. For Arjuna is completely satisfied to see him in his personal form of Krishna. But the Lord can understand also that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to convince others. Arjuna did not have any personal desire for confirmation. Krishna also understands that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to set a criterion for the future where there would be so many imposters who would pose themselves as incarnations of God. The people therefore should be careful. One who claims to be Krishna should be prepared to show his universal form to confirm his claim to the people. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm almost sure that you are quite seasoned listeners of Shrimad-bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and you are well aware of the fact that sometimes different acharyas may give different aspects of the same subject matter. And Prabhupada's purport mostly is here explaining the reason why Arjuna wants to see this form. At the same time, we can hear one of the quite well-known commentaries, Sarartha-varshini. Who wrote that? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Very short commentary. He says, Atmanam tvam yatha Tata, the first line. And Arjuna is saying, you said, I am situated in the world by pervading it within a small portion of myself. This is the last couple of verses of the previous chapter. Just by the spark, I'm pervading all universe. This is true. I have not even a trace doubt about it. This Arjuna is speaking to Krishna. So this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Many times he just adds a dialogue. There's a Krishna saying this, and Arjuna saying that. In between, there is one more or two sentences, either by Krishna or by Arjuna. So unusual. Yet, I desire the satisfaction of beholding your form of majesty, Aishvarya. I want to see with my own eyes your partial manifestation, your Aishvarya form, by which you enter this world. So this is quite a different thing from seeing Krishna. And as Prabhupada mentions, Krishna is standing before Arjuna in most attractive form. Madhuram, Madhuram, Vadanam, Madhuram. The most sweet form. And Arjuna basically doesn't want to see anything more. But still, he wants to see the same Krishna, doesn't want to see different Krishna. He wants to see same sweetness of Krishna when he enters the universe. And of course, we know that that is not even full manifestation of Krishna, because Aishvarya is present even in Vaikuntha and even in Vrindavan, right? Or you don't think so? Do you think more opulence is in Vaikuntha or in Vrindavan? Of course. But those Aishvarya, those opulences are overshadowed. Like a sun in bright daylight. You try to see your phone and you cannot see anything in the maximum brightness because sun is so strong. You can hardly see. So the sweetness, the attractiveness, the beauty, the pastimes are overpowering that aspect of Aishvarya, of the opulence, which is more important than Vaikuntha. So Arjuna wants to see. And different commentaries I've seen, by the way, our, let's say, kind of branch of our parampara, Narayan Maharaj, in his commentary, he writes that actually that was personal satisfaction he wanted to see for himself, although Prabhupada doesn't say that. Anyways, the form which here Krishna is showing Arjuna, will be coming up, is completely unique. Do you think so too? Have you heard of other cases when Krishna was showing some universal form? Yeah, I guess you know the story even better than me, but I'll try to tell it anyways. Yashoda Maya. How many times? 2 times. 10th canto, there's a chapter 7 and 8. First time Krishna was yawning, just like, and you could see. And next chapter, when he was eating mud. So 2 universal forms in 2 chapters, one after each other. Yeah. And Duryodhana. That's amazing. You know the story why he was showing universal form? The whole idea was that just before Kurukshetra, they were planning how to win the Kurukshetra war. But same as in Ramachandra's time or other demons, they have a quite simple idea. The Brahmanas are worshipping Vishnu, right? And if you destroy Brahmanas, what happens? Without worship, Vishnu will be very weak. So therefore, we start with the Brahmanas and then we kill Vishnu. Here's opposite. They think if we want to kill Pandavas, because Pandavas are completely dependent on Krishna. So if you get rid of Krishna, Pandavas will not be able to fight, right? You remember the story about Ashwadama, right? His son, claiming that his son is dead and he was not able to fight. So similar way. So they had this plan. When Krishna comes, and he came for the reason to make a peace. You make the peace, don't fight, just give Pandavas 5 villages. And they had such a crazy plan. They built a special chair. If you sit on it, you'll just flip over and come back, and Krishna is gone. Finished. Of course. Didn't work out as easy as supposed to be. So after the Krishna disappeared on the ground, all the Kauravas were sitting happily enjoying life now. Everything is going to be successful. What happens next? The whole ground, the whole palace actually starts to shake like an earthquake. And what happens? There's enormous peacock feather coming out from the ground. And besides that, of course, also Krishna showed different demigods and the fires and all these things. Of course, Acharyas explain this universal form was just a tiny, small part of that form which was shown to Arjuna. Why? Because there was just like a convincing them. Actually, he did convince. Same way as Arjuna was afraid when he saw form. Enough. I want to see back your two-hand form. Same thing happened to Duryodhana. When he saw universal form, he was completely overwhelmed. Actually, he lost all his composure, his desire to fight. He was depressed. Only because Shakuni, his uncle, were convincing him, you have to fight. But unusual thing is, there was one single discussion about who is your allies. Before war, you discuss who is a friend, who is enemy. So when Pandavas asked Krishna, what is our best friend in this war? What do you think Krishna said? Shakuni is your best friend. Like, no way. How is that possible? He's always claiming all the crazy plans, how to kill us, everything. And still he's best friend. Please explain. So then Krishna told the story. Everything started at a young age. When Pandavas were small boys, like 5, 7, and Duryodhana was there, they were playing around as a neighbor kids, Same family, actually. But Bhima was a little bit stronger than other ones. So, for example, kids go around and they go to the plum or apple tree, and Bhima just comes and shakes the tree, and all the boys fall down from the tree like that, And he tried to poison him, and poison didn't work on him. So many cases didn't happen. So sometimes to make suffer, you mention something, and Duryodhana said, I think you are very, very an obnoxious person because you're coming from not very chaste woman. Your mother, she was married to the 5 times a different man, She's not chaste at all. So you're also second-class person. So he really took it to the heart. He said, how is that possible? He's offending me. I have nothing to say him against. So one day he was going around, and Shakuni was quite older than him. And he said, well, I'm really completely lost, I have nothing to say. He said, nothing to say. He's the same person. His mother got married to the banana tree. You know the story? No. Because sometimes when you look at the astrological chart, it's mentioned there's 2 marriages. So that means you have to divorce, or husband is killed. And they have to get married one more time, which is not very normal in a Vedic society. So what they do, if there's 2 marriages in astrology, the first marriage they marry to the banana tree. And then they cut off the banana tree and then marry to the proper guy. So astrology fulfilled. So next time Duryodhana comes up and he says, "Oh, your mother was married to a banana tree." And he became so angry. Because there's only 3 people knew it. He himself, his mother, and Shakuni. So because Shakuni was now the enemy of the family, what he did, not only Shakuni, but all his family, he put in the prison. About 100 people. He put in the prison, and even more, not enough, he was providing the food only for 1 person. So all his family came together in the prison and said, well, we have to get revenge on this crazy guy, like just really envious, like completely envious. So what they decided, let's choose the youngest and most intelligent person. And that was Shakuni. So he will be one who will be eating the food, and the rest of it we will die. But he will be person who will be getting revenge on whole family. So one by one, the weaker person and the older ones, they got passing away. And when his uncle, he almost passed away, he said, take my knuckles, finger knuckles, and make the dice. So these dice will be the reason how you will destroy Duryodhana. So when Duryodhana come and see all people died, only 1 Shakuni left, and he said, well, I'm so sorry, I understand my fault. And he was false pretending, very humbleness and so on. And he said, well, sorry. Now I do everything else. I will do only for your benefit. Nothing wrong. I will be your best friend. And he was trying to be best friend. Actually, he did. But one thing he took as very, very serious. In Shastra it is said, if you offend chaste woman, the dynasty is destroyed. So what to do? He had this plan. And every time, like this case, when the universal form was shown, he understood if he's not fighting, then he will die of natural cause, which is not plan. Plan is he gets killed and he gets punished, and all the world will see how bad he was. So bad means doing something completely wrong. And offending Draupadi, trying to rip her, touching the hair and so on, that was completely destroying the whole, they're just vanishing, All dynasty is just disappearing. So that's why his friendship was confirmed by Krishna. Such a way, he's our best friend, because he was pretending to be a Duryodhana's friend, but actually his idea. Of course, side by side, a little bit some harm was done to the Pandavas as well, but that was not his intention at all. He didn't want to harm her, but because he was kind of pretending to be a friend. So this is the 3rd case, to Yashoda, then 3rd. 4th case, this is 4th, when actually Arjuna is getting universal form. And this is very, very deep philosophical idea, that Krishna, basically, it is one. And that we read, Chatushloki Bhagavatam explains, before creation there was no one but me, after creation only me, there's nothing exists besides me, like this. But also, besides that, there is also a personal form. So, when we see current universal form, which we see now, we also see Krishna. But because our devotion, our vision is not as pure as Arjuna's, we don't connect that to Krishna. So this is a faulty, unfortunate situation of ours because of illusionary energy. We don't connect this wall or this table to Krishna as an energy. We most of the time forget it. And later on in this chapter, last 2 sections, there is one section when Krishna explains you cannot see universal form unless you are given a special permission, special eyes. He said you cannot see the form. You have to see with the eyes which I give you. But besides that, besides Arjuna, there was also other living beings could see. You know who? Demigods. They also could see. They were also given the eyes, same eyes as Arjuna. So they could see so they get the benefit of others, like Kauravas, they see form, and not just Duryodhana. The whole assembly of Kauravas could see. But Duryodhana was so afraid, he just closed the eyes. There was only 3, 4, Bhishma and Satyaki and I think Sanjaya and some few more were able to actually see that form and not be afraid. The rest of them were just like covering eyes and running away. So same thing, when we see universal form as Arjuna explained here, also other demigods were able to see. But that's not enough. Because seeing the form, it is like, has to be some kind of result, right? If Krishna performs some act, what is the result? The result is actually appreciating Krishna being expanded into this whole universe, and because of that, worshipping original Krishna. So that's the whole idea. And of course, there was no question of Arjuna not worshipping Krishna. And he also saw the other reason for others, for the future. If you want to be claimed God in the future, be ready, be prepared to show universal form like that. But then there's more cases. You want to hear about that? What do you think? How many more times universal form was shown? Lucky guess. I found one amazing article in Bhakti Godhead. And he's going on counting. So next, 5th one, which is classical, usually mentioned 5. Usually classical 5. Uttanka was his friend. And when he went from Dwarka, on the way, he met his friend Uttanka, and they were discussing the whole thing. And somehow, as a friendly fellows, they're kind of getting very close in the discussion. So Uttanka said, well, come on, you are a supreme God. You could have stopped the whole thing in the very early stages. How much suffering the Pandavas going on, how many saintly fighters, on the Yadava side were killed, you could have stopped them. And he was trying to put this and said, no, you should have done like this. And the whole argument went like so strong that he almost was cursing Krishna. Friendly way, but he was Brahmana. He was like, I'm going to curse you because you did wrong. So, and he said, well, if you really think that you are as you are, then prove it, Because otherwise, if everybody says you are God, that you are good God, not bad, you should have prevented it. You stopped it. So I don't believe you. I think you're not God even. And he challenged in such a way, Krishna was supposed to be proving that he is God, and he showed him universal form as well. So this is the 5th case. I haven't read it, the whole details, because I was given just this morning, Dharmatma gave me a class. I cannot give you all the quotes and readings, but there's very nice ones. In Shrimad-Bhagavatam 8, 20:5 is also Vamanadeva. When we talk about Vamanadeva stepping the whole thing, to prove into the assembly who was there, they have to see actually those steps. That means they had to have a vision of whole universe, that actually he reached with the toe and touched pierced the covering of universe. So this is one more case, number 6, when the universal form was shown to lots of people. Okay. And then there's also, in a much closer future history, Lord Chaitanya. He's showing universal form. And there was 2 personalities. Definitely there was Advaitacharya and also Nityananda. And when they saw that form, I don't know, it doesn't explain so much, just very shortly, they were starting dancing like a peacocks in the rainy season, because they understood that's confirmation that Lord Chaitanya is Supreme Lord. He was hiding all the time. No, closing his ears and everything like this. Then also we have to understand that originally, we mentioned already Chatushloki Bhagavatam, when Krishna, in the beginning of creation, he inspired Brahma to create. So how it happened? Very, very unusual. This is also Acharya giving the detailed description that because Krishna is expanding his universal form, but that's a blueprint. There's a Sarga Visarga, there's different levels of creation. So original creation is done by Krishna, not by Brahma. And he creates the whole blueprint of universe, which is copy of one thing. When he creates a universe as such a material world as such, he has a blueprint of one universe. And he gives that blueprint to every Brahma. Let's build, like construction company, let's build house. And then we see in Vrindavan, you see sometimes houses like 5 in a row, same size, So, of course, Brahmas are creating a little bit also inspirational, bigger or smaller universe. But in order for Brahma to understand, he gives him a feeling, a kind of, like you can compare if you put a hand in a glove, right? It's not your glove. You just give the glove and, okay, let's try. It's nice or not nice? So you put a hand, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so nice. I like the one to have like this. No. This is my glove. You make your own. So the same way, when Krishna inspired Brahma to create, he gave him a feeling of this universe, of the whole universe, including all planets, everything. So he was kind of going into the thing, and he understood. He had this real first eye experience how the universe is supposed to be. So they said, okay, now we draw, vision going back, now you do it. So this is also universal seeing, which was shown to Brahma. So, a few left more. Okay, one more. Markandeya Rishi. This is the last one from Shrimad-Bhagavatam 12th canto. I think 9th chapter, if not mistaken. Yeah, 12th canto, 9th chapter. When he was seeing, but that form was not completely original. He was shown Maya form. Because he was kind of floating in a ocean of devastation and so on. And when all things happen, creation and destruction and all so on, and I see the Krishna floating in a lotus leaf, sucking his toe and everything. Yeah. So all this time he also saw not only one form, but actually development, and time-wise, the whole thing was going on. So these are many, many times. I guess this is just a few of them. There's a unusual explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's say, jump just one step. How Srimad Bhagavatam is different. In our planet, when we reach Srimad Bhagavatam, how long it is? How many verses? 18,000, right? So, it is explained that the demigod planet in Indraloka, or higher planetary systems, the Srimad Bhagavatam can be up to 1 million verses. That's how many times more? I also explained that Yamaraj has a special Srimad Bhagavatam. And that Srimad Bhagavatam explains Krishna's incarnations in any single form of life, of, obviously, how many lakhs of the insects and the reptiles and finally human beings. So every form of life, Krishna incarnates, even in the cockroach form. So then when Yamaraj has to place any living being into some form of life, for him it's easy. He remembers, Yeah, if I have to put you in a lion form, he remembers Nrsimhadev, or in a pig form. Oh, okay, that's Varaha, so on, and every single thing. So that's his Srimad Bhagavatam. So also, probably there's more cases of showing universal form, because that gives a very, very important point. We actually start connecting with Krishna. one single thing we have to see through the whole these explanations, that universal form is shown according to your advancement and your desires and your inspirations. When it was shown to Yashoda, it's clearly explained that she saw in the mouth of Krishna when she was eating, after supposed to be eating the mud, she saw herself in a Vrindavan. So she saw herself in the Vrindavan. So it means if you are Vrindavan Basi, for you, how would you show some kind of nonsense universal form, nothing to do with Vrindavan? You'll be completely confused. So therefore, every universal form is tailored to the need and to the inspiration of the person who is seeing that. And Arjuna wanted to see not just the form. He wanted to see how Krishna goes inside. But the hardest part was to see everything in one place. Because universal is like millions and billions of kilometers, right? Nowadays we kind of see those videos, you have Earth and it zooms out and it shows the planetary system and it shows universe, la 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 la. So that's all 3D animation, it's nothing. It's still flat screen, see from this side there's nothing there, right? But he was seeing everything and also not seeing just the space. He also see how Krishna interacts, how he expands in the demigods, how he pervades, how he acts through the gunas, how he is doing the whole varnashrama thing. It was all in motion, not just a picture, wow, huge. No, actually how the living beings are smashed, and some living beings were just floating as rivers to the thing. So those living beings who are pious, they're going to the death peacefully as a river going to the ocean. Other ones were smashed between the teeth, There's different kind of death for the living beings as well in universal form. Depends on they're peaceful or demoniac as well. So that's beautiful explanations of universal forms. We could tell more. I prepared a couple of pages more, but Prabhuji left only 2 minutes for the questions. I think we can ask now some questions or additions or your inspirations you had about universal form or Gita in general, whatever. What is your understanding? What do you think, what is most important in the idea of universal form? There is a universal form which is completely imaginable. I think in the first canto of Shrimad-Bhagavatam, there's explained that the mountains are the bones, and the rivers are the veins, and the trees are the hair in the body, and so on, so on. So this form is created verbally for those people who cannot connect. But that's not really Krishna's form. That's not really universal form. It's just like an allegory. You can say also, president can say, "You are my right hand." Some minister without, Chaitanya said to the devotee, "You are my wing. If I had one more devotee like you, I could fly." So he's not really a wing, but it's true. You can say the universal form is external like that, but more important that he actually pervades a super soul. He is conscious everything's happening. Because of our misunderstanding, we think we are conditioned. This is the hardest part. Just because of misunderstanding, just because of the Maya covering our real understanding of knowledge, we think we are this body. We think that we are conditioned. But actually, spirit soul is ever liberated, is never contaminated. That means we are liberated just now. Easy. And universal form is a part of it, because Krishna interacts with every living being according to his internal spiritual identity, not on the basis of body. It's even said, I think a week or so ago, was explained nicely in Shrimad-Bhagavatam class in the morning here in the temple, that when you go to the deities, they don't see your body, they see your soul. They're not even soul, they see your spiritual identity. So that's so important to go to deities every day. So actually your spiritual identity is getting refreshed every day, It's like you refresh with the water, you go to deities and they look at you and your spiritual identity is kind of kept alive, And if you don't show yourself to deities for a long time, so even the so-called Brajabasis, all the rickshawalas and so, they don't see your soul, they see just the money. And they say, Radhe, Radhe, but they mean money. So that's true. Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. Go seva. This seva, bandar seva. All these things happening, in the name of money. Yeah. Whatever you having that level, you will take that Krishna's name, Radharani's name, and draw down to your level. But you have to do opposite. You take that name and shift up, like with the winds, the favorable winds of Vedas, and with the proper sailor of our spiritual master, we sail back to the spiritual world with a simple understanding that universal form is supposed to be taken as a Krishna's personal presence everywhere. We say, okay, super soul. We don't see super soul. But when we connect to Krishna's, Krishna, and he's coming like a hand in a glove, and he's actually entering everybody, every living being. Just recently I read, in a universe, there's as much living beings as atoms. How many atoms have you on your own body? A lot. So you have so much, millions and billions of neighbors. Not very high level though. Some bacteria are helpful, but some are not, Some turn into cancer, killing you, bad neighbors. But basically it is. We have to understand that there is Krishna's particles of spiritual sparks of energies everywhere. And if we meditate on this universal form in this way, we will be developing the most important part which we receive from Prabhupada and our Guru. This is called Sambandha Gyan, how everything is connected to Krishna. Universal form meant to come. I previously said that you gradually come to understand his greatness, that his greatness is even bigger than universal form. This Aishwarya form is just a small part. Just imagine a big guy who is like, muscle builder and so on, and there's some mosquito going on here on a shoulder. He doesn't get like, oh, he's just like, gone, finished. For Krishna to create the whole universe. Remember who was one of the devotees said, oh, please, 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 let me take all the sins. It was Kulaveshadhara, I think so. All the sins so people get freed and get liberated and go back to Godhead. And Chaitanya said, well, I have so many universes. It's like a big sack of the mustard seeds. So one universe is like one more, one less, doesn't matter. So even our idea of being saviors or preachers of this thing, this is not our destination. We come here with the Purusha Bhava to control and enjoy. And even we sometimes transfer the whole thing into the preaching area. We are controlling. I'm the one who is distributing books, I'm the one who is giving mercy. Without Krishna's mercy, impossible. The previous chapter, last things, nothing happens without me. I am the seed of all energies. I'm a cause of everything. So any action, any quality, any transformation happening in this universe is Krishna's energy expansion. So that's the proper vision of universal form. So if we come to that gradually, anything, Bhagavad Gita basic, no. This is the highest level. This is the advanced level of devotee. He doesn't see anything. Why? Great acharyas, Raghunath Das, he was offering 2,000 obeisances to all and living beings, Vaishnavas and so on. Why? Because he saw that. He saw, maybe he didn't see personally his, that's Vrindavan Thakur in the Chaitanya Bhagavata, he explains that all the devotees who were living in Mayapur, they were completely ignorant of each other's spiritual identity. Factually, yeah. They didn't see, oh, he's a cowherd boy and so on and so on. Later on, there was books explaining who was who and so on, Chaitanya Lila, Krishna Lila. But that particular month, they didn't see. They didn't see Krishna, Chaitanya as God. They didn't see each other's spiritual forms. But the basic Sambandha Jnana is that ground on which you can be expressing at least the honor, at least some respect to other living beings as a part of Krishna, and maybe gradually develop some kind of loving relationships as well. Well, that comes together with Krishna. You cannot do one without the other. Okay, Hare Krishna. No more questions? Everybody's fine? Oh, you haven't. Hare Krishna.
We can see Krishna every human being, every living entity. If we can see, we can get understanding of
Right.
Krishna.
Well, first of all, we have to understand the end of the chapter. There's two ends of the chapter. Both universal form and personal form is explained by Krishna himself. You cannot see without his mercy. So, if we want to say, how can I? We have to understand also how Krishna can. This is both ends, If we, best example is not very relevant maybe in India, but if you have a, ex-husband or ex-wife, I think you're happening divorces in India already, right? So if you want to make friends with your ex-husband and wife, is it possible? Not so easy. It needs a two-way street. So in order to see those things actually like non-stop, has to be two-way street. So Krishna received this order by Arjuna, please show me. And he was just straight away, without arguing. When he was asking, oh, please drive my chariot in the middle, he was making jokes. You want to make see new friends and so on and so on. But now he's just like, okay, it's easy for him because he was already in a close relationship with Krishna. So as gradually as we develop our loving sentiments towards Krishna, that vision of universal presence of Krishna will also be seen until the certain level. Because when you go over to the spiritual world, to Vaikuntha, even Vrindavan, you will not see so much anymore. You will see just Krishna will be prominent person, and all other things will be independent who are serving in different ways. So you won't see the thing. Universal form is universal form. It's not spiritual Vrindavan form. So we have to understand this is needed, but ultimately not the ultimate consciousness. So Brajavasis then don't see Krishna as present everywhere. I think everybody.
See Krishna, what Krishna we desire, Krishna wants. We understand why we
The
are,
purpose.
why we
Yeah.
are here.
Well, this is very deep question, how to find out what Krishna wants from me. I think you know the better answer to that. Krishna expresses his desire through the devotees, through the scriptures. So, you can read it first, but finally you have to find your good friend who will be your advisor, spiritual master, so on. And daily life, maybe not all the time you can ask him, but the major directions and how and when and you get from the devotees. Many times I also, especially when you talk to younger devotees, they ask, oh, what's my ashram or what's my varna and so on and so on. I said, well, don't think from that point of view. If devotee comes and says, your service today will be washing pots or cleaning floor, that means that's your ashram and varna for today. Right? So, same thing like in Brihad-bhagavatamrita, when Narada was going up and down in the planets and so on, and the devotee says, oh, no, I didn't have received any mercy. I send you there. He's getting more mercy than me. And finally, he reached the Yadavas, and Yadavas said, if you say so, if you say we received mercy of Krishna, that means we did. We agree. So, from that point of view, when we develop the faith that Krishna speaks through the devotees, we start to surrender to them. And through them will be this mercy coming. So that mercy of vision also be according to our association. The more advanced devotees you associate, you getting from them the vision to the world. And that vision may be changing, depends on who is your next friend. So that's my explanation. How you get the vision, you get copy of that vision from devotee. Now, because we don't have, we take kind of blueprint of the copy from Arjuna. How he approached, how he saw, what was the result, how Krishna explained, how Sanjay explained. So this story is kind of, we are trying to put in our lives. It's still blueprint. It's not final version, because final version be when Krishna approves it. It has to be two-way street. So we want it, and Krishna says, okay, I see you want it, let it brew for a while. Let it get ready, let it ripen. And when it's ripened, stamp, okay, approved. And that's irreversible. So then you're ready for next level. So this is my answer.
We don't know, like Dhruv Maharaj doing tapasya,
Right.
they don't know how to glorify the personality of the Godhead. They don't know, but by the touch their hand, like the Dhruv Maharaj, they can speak from.
You can get this whole subject, how you can get the mercy of Krishna. You can get by personal touch, you can get personal vision, you can get by voice without seeing Krishna. There's many ways how Krishna's mercy appears in us. So it's quite a vast subject for it. It's on its own. Hare Krishna. Let's finish now and go to Arati. Shrimad-bhagavatam Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanand.